Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Christina Kaiser. I am working today from the Skinnytaste Fast and Slow book. In the back of this book, there's a section for veggie mains. And so today I am making the slow cooker loaded baked sweet potatoes. And so you see here, there's a sweet potato with some filling inside and some toppings. So just to kind of give you a lay of the land, first of all, I love this dish. This dish is like eating nachos over a sweet potato, which just makes me immensely happy. And I would have never known that you can cook your sweet potatoes in a slow cooker. It wouldn't have occurred to me. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have a double batch of sweet potatoes going. They're stood up on end. It's going to cook on low for 8 hours. I'm not even going to touch it. Our family actually, I don't give the kids the skin, so I just kind of scoop out the pulp later. What I have here then is a pot ready to go with this filling that's going to go inside. And I make a pretty large batch. So her recipe calls for those 4 sweet potatoes, a half cup of black beans and a half cup of corn. I have like 3 cups of black beans and 3 cups of corn, which are going to all go in together. And her recipe calls for a 1/3 cup of tomato sauce. I'm doing a large 28-ounce tomato sauce right in together, and this will start to, so I think the thing of it is our family likes a nice amount on top, and so if that's true for your family too, no need to limit yourself, just add the whole can. And this is a double batch. It makes up so quickly that it's like a 5-minute kind of scenario. If for some reason I realize I don't have enough for my lunches, I can just go back and add more. It's great. So for cumin, she calls for a 1/2 teaspoon. Obviously, I have so much more that I'm going to want to use more. So I'm going to go for 1.5 teaspoons of cumin. Cumin is so great. She calls for some cayenne pepper. Whenever that's true, I just do a couple of spritzes. So mine has some little holes on top. Salt. She calls for a 1/2 teaspoon. You don't need a ton of salt when you're using these canned ingredients that already have salt in them. So I've added a teaspoon. Even that is probably questionable. And then there's one thing that I add to it, which is chili powder. So you don't have to, but I add a few teaspoons of chili powder. I think it adds that nice darkness. It makes me happy. Obviously, you don't have to do it. So these go together until basically they get hot enough. So I had frozen corn, so that corn's got to heat up a little bit. But that, you're just going to let it stir in the pot until it starts to bubble, and then it's really done at that point. So the rest of it, because this is like a 5-minute deal, the rest of it is just toppings, which you can make at any time. So she calls for Greek yogurt. I have, you might remember, a lactose intolerant person. So I have a tofu sour cream. I had forgotten which recipe I was using. So I actually used this cooking blog to go back and find this recipe. This one is 12 ounces of tofu with 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard, all put in the food processor until it's nice and smooth. But I will link that video at the end. Cilantro. So I bought this like 4 days ago. I took it off the stem and gave it a slight chop. So it is all ready to go. The same was true for scallions. I bought a bunch of scallions. I cut them up. And that actually kind of keeps them from getting limp. Sometimes you buy them early and then they get a little limp. This way they're not limp. So that's the meal. She also calls for some pepper jack cheese on top, which is great if you want to. So you can see this is starting to bubble. That's great. It took as long as it took me to explain to you. And then the last little bit that I'll do is actually right at the end. I'll cut into an avocado, which I actually might make a video for that if I have time, but all the kids will be home. It'll be very loud. So we'll top it with a little bit of avocado. So really, when this is all done, you're going to open this up. I'm going to scoop out the flesh for the sake of happy kids. I'm going to put a little bit of this sauce on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the toppings. So it's boom, boom, bada, bang. We walk in the door, serve, 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 and you really have this thing that tastes like nachos, which I love nachos. So hopefully that's an inspiration for you. It's really tasty. It's super fast to put together. Thank you so much for being with me, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.